Hi everybody, it is Sunday afternoon. This is the 15th time I've tried to record this video. Every time I try to record one, something always happens. Someone always tries to call me and bug me. So, let's try this again. I am Rocky. Welcome to our special awesome family. I am a mama bear of several special needs reborn and virtual babies. I'm going to tell you guys my story about how I started collecting not collecting, but having reborn children. Trigger warning, I may get emotional because it's going to be about my son who was born dead, which I did not talk about in the last video that I did about my story, so here we go. So, I have a condition called septo-optic dysplasia, which also comes with hypopituitarism or hypothyroidism. I don't grow. I stopped growing at the age of 12, so I'm still short, and I'm 45 years old. So yeah, YouTube, don't classify me as a kid, please. I've already had that happen before. Don't need it again. Anyway, so, okay. Back in 2004, my son Seth was born at 27 weeks. He was 2 pounds, 12 ounces. He was very tiny. We were told that I'd never carry a child or never have one because I have another condition that is a chromosomal deletion. I'm not sure where it's at, but it's genetic. And I can't carry a kid very easily. We all get placenta accreta or preeclampsia. I had preeclampsia. But I also had another problem which we didn't know was going to happen, which was called a placental abruption. I was hurting real bad the night he was born. I was hurting really bad, and I was hurting before the funeral. My love of my life died 2 days before this happened, and the funeral was really tough on me. And I was hurting really bad that day of the funeral, and I was hurting before that too. And everybody kept telling me, "Oh, you're fine, just Braxton Hicks, you're okay. Just Braxton Hicks, you're okay, everything's alright, you're fine." Well, it wasn't Braxton Hicks. I was in labor, and I was also, abrupted. So, later that night, I got really sick, and I felt really gross. Like, I couldn't get up. I was so weak, and just horrible. I just felt horrible. I couldn't get up. I couldn't eat. It was horrible. And, excuse me, I'm sorry. I told the person I was staying with at the time, I'm like, I don't feel so good. So I went to the hospital, and they said, "Oh, you're just Braxton Hicks, you're okay." And then my doctor came in and goes, "No, this is not Braxton Hicks, something's wrong." But she didn't know what it was and didn't really pursue it. So I'm laying there moaning and groaning in pain. I'm crying. I'm begging for help. I can't explain it. I'm just in that much pain. Sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional, but later on it got worse. The pain got really bad, and I started throwing up and just feeling worse and worse all the time, and feeling like I was fading. And I told my doctor, like, "You gotta do something. I don't feel well at all. Something's wrong with my baby." And she kept saying nothing's wrong. And then the nurse, who is still my friend, said to me, "No, something's wrong. Something's very wrong because I can't find a fetal heartbeat." So, she told the doctor. They came in, they started, getting him out. I keep hearing a noise. I don't know what that noise is. But, I was fully effaced, and they got him out, and he was blue. He was totally blue. They did CPR, and I kept saying, "Please save my baby, please save my baby." And then I heard the nurse say something about placental abruption. And I knew, because I'm a medical person, I knew something was wrong. And I kept telling them, I told you something was wrong, now you killed my child. And they kept saying, oh, you're just being hysterical, your child's fine. He was not fine, you guys. He was dying right before my very eyes. They took him off to the NICU and said they were going to try to bring him back. I laid there in bed in a lot of pain. I'd been bleeding a lot. And they had to patch me up because I tore. And then about an hour later, the doctor came back who was working on Seth, said to me, I hate to tell you, but you have placental abruption and your son is born dead. We can't bring him back. And I lost it. I just started crying and screaming and just hitting myself. Like, why did you do that? Why didn't you go to the hospital sooner? And I just felt so stupid. They said you'll never have another child. They said you're not normal inside, and that's why you had a problem. You have a chromosomal deletion, and that's why you can't carry a child. So I went into a real big seizure after that because it was just so hard on me. I couldn't deal, and I went into a really big seizure, and they had to fight to save me. I'm trying really hard to hold back my crying because I really don't want you to see me bawl my brains out on camera. So I came out of it and they said, your son is gone. And then one nurse, I heard her, she didn't know I heard her say this, but she said, trigger warning again. She said, well, with her being mentally retarded, she can't raise a kid anyway. That was painful for me to hear, although they don't know that I heard it. So I was in the hospital for about a week, and then I returned home to my house, and my mom was trying to calm me down. She kept trying to get me to feel better, trying to talk to me, tell me things were going to be okay. But I wanted nothing to do with anyone. I just wanted to let her die. And it was only because I felt like it was my fault my son was dead, because I knew something was wrong and I kept telling him something was wrong. They kept saying, oh, nothing's wrong, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. No, he wasn't fine. He was dying right there in my stomach. And then I went into a real deep depression, and I basically didn't really care if I lived or died. I wouldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. All I did was cry and wanting my son back. And I was sitting outside with my mom one day, and she said, what would you do if I told you that you could still be a mom, but in a different way? I'm like, what do you mean? I can never be a mom again. And she said, well, there's a way you can do it. And I said, what way? She said, well, I got something to show you. And she brought Daniel over to me. And I was scared to hold him at first, because I'm like, what if he died? What if he's gone too? What if he gets taken away from me? What if I lose him? Mom's like, you're not going to lose him. He can't die. He can't run away. He's yours forever. So I held him, and after a little bit, I fell in love. I was just crazy about him. Daniel was... I just loved him so much that I just went crazy about him. I was like, oh, he's so cute, you know. I finally started doing stuff with Daniel and kind of basically throwing myself into his care and his love. And I have his book. I wish I could find it. It actually says his the day he was born and his special needs. And a friend of mine actually did his handprint, which I still have, and his birth weight, his full name. I still have that book. I have to find it, but yeah. It was just me throwing myself into taking care of Daniel's needs and being there for Daniel and comforting him and being the mom that I knew I was. And I always knew that God made me a mom, but I didn't know I was going to go on a journey like this. I had no idea that my journey would end up being like this. And then it shocked me one night. I was talking to some friends, and I said, I want to spread awareness for special needs. All my kids have special needs, and I want to spread awareness. And so I started a podcast. It was called Our Big Crazy Family over on Anchor. It didn't last long because someone hacked it. And then I started another one called Our Nesting Place. And I lost that one because I got crazy. It got where it was inaccessible for me, so I couldn't do it anymore. So Mom walks in my room and she's patting Daniel on the head. She said, YouTube is your outlet. You need to go. So she bought me some stuff that I needed. My camera stand, which you're actually standing on. I got an iPhone. It was a 10R at the time, which I still have right here. He's old, but I still have him. So I started, doing audios. At first I was doing videos, like showing Daniel's face and showing how beautiful he was. And then they started putting me as a kid. I'm like, oh, forget that. So then I started figuring out a way to do audio. So I was like, okay, we have Backpack, we have Recorder HQ Pro. Let's do audio. Then it hit me. You know what? Do what you did on the podcast. So I decided to start recording the same way I did on the podcast. Little by little, it got easier, and it got to where I loved it more, and it was more my style. It was more how I felt. It was more of who I was as a mama bear to many children with special needs. And then I couldn't help it. It just kept going and going and going and going, and now we're at where we are now. And you guys, it felt so good because even though I didn't have my son, I could still carry on his legacy. He wasn't here, but I could still carry on his legacy. When I first met Daniel, I was going to name him Seth, but it was too painful, too hard for me. So I named him Daniel John. But it was so hard because when the doctor tells you you'll never have a child, and you try adopting and adopting doesn't work because they tell you that you can't because your special needs that you have. It's like your whole world turns upside down. But I am who I am, and I love my babies, and I love what I do as a special needs mama bear to many reborn and virtual children. How the virtual thing started was back years ago when I was a kid. I used to always have these virtual kids that I would take care of, and I would line them up in rows and do this whole bus thing where I take them on a bus to school and stuff like that. Well, that came back to me, and I'm like, why don't I just have them as my kids? So that's how it all started. And I started vlogging It's been almost 2 years now, and I love what I do. I love my fan base. My friends are great. The people who comment on my vlogs make me smile, and it just feels awesome. Like, I never thought ever that I would get this far. I always thought I would be a puny vlogger. I'd never get anywhere, you know. And then I went on Special Books by Special Kids, and the title of the video you want to go see is called Blind, Autistic, and Lonely. She Just Wants a Friend. That's my video I was in, and you'll actually get to see me full face. You'll actually get to see the full me up close, and my family and my life. It's not a very long interview because he cut some parts out, which is kind of sad, but it's okay. It was long enough where people knew me and they came over here to talk to me. And I just want to say that you guys are amazing. I love all y'all so much. And through all the pain I went through with my son's death and all the pain I went through being told I'd never have a child, I do have solace in the fact that I have my babies and I love them and I treat them like they're my child. Like my son Daniel's going to have surgery on Thursday and my son Dina's, because that's what life is like when you have special needs kids. Whether it be reborn, whether it be virtual. Or as my mom would say, be ye reborn, be ye virtual, you know. But I just want to kind of give you a synopsis of what happened to me and kind of explain what I went through. I didn't talk about it in the first video I did on it because it was just too painful, but Mom's like, you need to open up to your viewers and tell them what happened. Tell them what you've been through, what pain you had, and what pain was done to you. When someone said, how can a retarded child raise a reborn, or how can a retarded child raise a real child when they're retarded, that was painful for me because I'm not retarded, I'm just autistic. I'm blind, autistic, and I have special needs. So, Mom was talking to the cat. Anyway, guys, that's sort of a synopsis of what I've been through. I will try to do a longer version of it later on to go more in depth. But anyway, I love you guys, and I'll talk to y'all later tonight.